Hello, and welcome back to a year of miracles with Inner Bloom. We are on lesson 323, and the declaration is I gladly make the sacrifice of fear. So, there is a lot of talk about, you have to sacrifice in order to get what you want, or God requires a sacrifice. What this is saying and emphasizing for you is that sure, there's a sacrifice, but it's not what you think. It's the sacrifice of illusion, it's the sacrifice of fear, it's the sacrifice of grievances, it's the sacrifice of suffering. So your desire to no longer experience suffering, no longer experience fear, no longer experience the contraction and the ickiness that comes with feeling hate and grievances towards people and things of the world, it's the same desire that is desired of you, you could say from God, right? So there is no difference. And that's the only sacrifice that you are required to make. The reason it feels so challenging to make that sacrifice is because we think that holding on to these things is going to give us something, but it never gives us something. We think that it's going to give us protection or that it's going to prevent something or that and again, it all comes back to protection, but protection, prevention, or thinking that if we there's some sort of correction that will happen in punishment, but those are all lies. We're just feeding the cycle that just creates more suffering, creates more grievances, creates more being held in illusion, being held in the stories, and shutting off the light of the truth and pinching out the even though you can never separate yourself from the infinite love, the infinite fountain of love and peace and joy and wholeness, it feels like a pinching off from it. And you're just doing that further in every moment that you choose to hold on to and not make that sacrifice of fear, not make that sacrifice of illusion. It says that we pay the debt that we owe to truth, and that debt is merely letting go of self-deceptions and images we worshipped falsely, meaning the illusions, the grievances, the fear, all those things that we're placing, that we're aiming for out of fear, right? It's not what it is that we want, it's where we want it from. So it's like I said, did I say it in one of my podcasts? Somewhere I said, greed is the fruit of the seed of lack, right? So when somebody wants to experience abundance, that is birthed from our true nature because we are abundance, we are wealth. But when somebody is holding on to greed, that is coming from ego because it's birthed from the seed of lack. It comes from the seed of lack. Those are the stories, those are the illusions, and lack is always based in fear. So all of those things come back to fear at its core. And this lesson is a reminder, but also for us to declare that we gladly are ready to sacrifice fear and all things that are birthed from fear. So the prayer is, here is the only sacrifice you asked your beloved child. You ask us to give up all suffering, all sense of loss and sadness, all anxiety and doubt, and freely let your love come streaming into our awareness, healing us of pain and giving us your own eternal joy. Such is the sacrifice you ask of me, and one I gladly make. The only cost of restoration of your memory to me for the salvation of the world.
I love this one so much. And I'm going to read. Oh, I'm going to read. Can you see me? Yeah. Yeah. Cool. I've got a weird setup today, but I'll have you know you're all hosted on top of some Prosecco glasses. If that's not a sign for celebration, I don't know what is. In the box, by the way, just in case you think I'm some magician. Right, going back to the lesson. This is one of my favorites, and I'm going to read what it says here because it's so beautifully written. It says the lesson is beautifully ironic. It says the only sacrifice God ever asks of you is the sacrifice of fear itself, not your joy, not your desires, not your identity, not your dreams, not your relationships, only fear. Fear is the illusion, fear is the false God, fear is the veil over your inheritance. Oh, I love this so much. This lesson is the moment the course asks you, are you willing to give up what's hurting you? And it says, fear is the only thing you've ever made. God didn't create fear. It's the ego's invention, a hallucination of danger where none exists. When you release fear, you're not losing anything real. You're giving up anxiety, doubt, unworthiness, scarcity, lack. You sacrifice the illusion to receive the reality. And I was actually experiencing this before I came to this lesson, of course, as always. I was walking down the road and I was thinking, I was tapping into the vision of what we are trying to create, not trying to create, I was tapping into the vision of us um, manifesting the $1 million by the end of the year. That vision and mission has come through so clearly. And I was so excited by the vision. I was so connected to it. I literally saw my attention almost go like vroom, and zone in straight onto fear. It just went vroom, but what if, but what if, but what if? And I literally had to just go, nope, and pull myself out of it. It was literally just like a drop, and then I lifted my head up. And like, that's it. You can fall into the fear of illusion, but just as quickly as you fall into it, you can pull yourself out of it. And that's the thing. The problem is, so many of us get stuck in the stories, stuck in the fear itself. But this lesson should be our anchor to recognize that this fear that we attached to or are afraid of is not real. God didn't create that. It's the ego's creation. So every time you feel fear, you can recognize, let that be your compass. Oh, I'm feeling fear right now. I must be out of alignment with my true nature. I must be out of God's creation and into the ego's creation, right? And I get to drop that story. I get to drop that illusion and pull myself back into it's not put. For me, the experience was pulling myself back. Right, it was almost like my mind started to take me to a movie that had played in the past, and I had to pull myself back into the present because that's all we're always doing. Right, God is in the present moment. It's your ego that wants to take you into fear based on a past narrative. So let that be your compass. And right, we've said this for however many lessons. You cannot feed two masters. You are either feeding fear or love. But no, underneath that fear, love exists because love is the only thing that is real. In the context of this, right? For us, it's our truth, anchoring us back into the true nature of who we really are. So this is such a powerful lesson. And I think if everybody could just use that, it would be life changing. Because think how many times a day you feel fear, right? So, personally, me, I always notice doubt or fear arise, but I've learned to not identify with it. And it's lessons like this that have helped me. So it's lessons like this that will help you too. That's it from me, Karina.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, everyone. And this really is a powerful lesson. So I hope you enjoyed it as much as Sammy and I did. And we'll see you tomorrow.